Have you ever wondered why some people seem to create unstoppable momentum in their lives while others work twice as hard and barely move forward? It's not because they were born with special talents or endless motivation. It's because they discovered something most people overlook, the hidden power of one habit done consistently. And here's the truth. Your entire life can change the moment you commit to a single action that compounds every day. Not 10 different strategies, not a massive overhaul of your life. Just one focused habit that becomes the foundation of everything else. Think about the times you tried to change everything at once. You started strong, full of energy, but within weeks, maybe even days, you fell back into old patterns. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not capable. It's because our brains are wired to resist drastic change. The weight of trying to juggle too many things crushes consistency, and consistency is the only bridge between goals and reality. When you try to climb the entire mountain at once, you feel overwhelmed. But when you place one steady step repeated day after day, the summit becomes inevitable. This is why the idea of one habit is so powerful. One choice you make every single day can unlock the door to focus, energy, and unstoppable momentum. It doesn't matter how many times you failed in the past. It doesn't matter how many times you promised yourself things would change, but they didn't. What matters is the decision you make now. Because the truth is, success isn't built in the future, it's built in the present. One repeated action at a time. Imagine waking up tomorrow with clarity, knowing exactly what to do, feeling lighter because the chaos of indecision is gone. Imagine looking back a month from now and realizing that what felt impossible has started to become natural, automatic, effortless. That's what happens when you stop chasing everything and instead lock in on one core habit. This is not about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about placing your energy where it matters most and letting that energy multiply. The difference between the life you're living now and the life you're capable of living is not some massive leap. It's the habit you choose to repeat when no one's watching. The habit that doesn't look like much on the surface but builds into something extraordinary over time. You don't need to feel motivated every day. You don't need to be stronger than everyone else. You just need to choose the one action that changes everything and make it non-negotiable. And here's why you need to stay with me until the end. Because in a world full of distractions, shortcuts, and empty promises, most people will keep running in circles, wondering why nothing changes. But you're here right now, and that means you already feel the pull of something greater inside you. You want more, and deep down, you know you're capable of more. The one habit I'm about to reveal has the power to 10 times your results instantly. Not because it adds more to your plate, but because it clears the clutter and unlocks the momentum you've been craving. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like you were running hard but not moving forward, this is the key that changes everything. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you won't just understand the habit. You'll feel ready to own it, live it, and transform with it. So many people dream of change, yet most never experience the breakthrough they crave. They want to rise higher, achieve more, and finally feel proud of their lives, but something invisible keeps pulling them back. The truth is, it's not a lack of intelligence, and it's not a lack of opportunity. It's the silent trap of inconsistency, starting with fire, but fading when the spark feels like too much work. The cycle of motivation and burnout keeps millions stuck in the same place, year after year, always waiting for the right moment, always searching for the next quick fix, but never building the foundation that actually lasts. You know the feeling, waking up with excitement one day only to lose it the next. Promising yourself that this time you'll finally stay disciplined, but by the end of the week, the old habits return. It feels like you're carrying the weight of disappointment, and with every failed attempt, your confidence gets smaller. Deep down, you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I don't have what it takes. That voice inside begins to whisper doubts, and soon the dream that once lit you up feels far away, almost unreachable. But here's the truth psychology reveals. Willpower alone was never designed to carry you through transformation. Willpower is like a battery. It drains with every decision you make. And once it's empty, you slip back into autopilot, into the routines that keep you small. That's why trying to rely on sheer discipline never works. It's why starting a dozen new habits all at once collapses under its own weight. Your brain is not failing you. It's simply protecting its energy by choosing the path it knows best. The cost of living this way is enormous. Every time you give up on yourself, even in small ways, you teach your mind that quitting is easier than pushing forward. You reinforce the pattern of surrender. And over time, it erodes your belief in what's possible. This is why so many people feel stuck. Not because they lack talent or vision, but because their pattern of inconsistency has silently become their identity. And until that cycle is broken, no amount of motivation will change their results. But there is hope, and it's more powerful than you realize. Because the same brain that locks you into cycles of failure can be rewired to create cycles of victory. Neuroscience proves it. Repetition builds pathways, and pathways become patterns. Every time you choose one simple action and repeat it, you lay down a track in your mind that makes it easier the next time. What once felt impossible becomes natural. What once drained your energy becomes automatic. And that's when transformation begins to compound. This is why so few actually rise to greatness, while so many remain trapped in frustration. They spend their lives chasing motivation when what they need is rhythm. A daily rhythm so small and consistent it bypasses the need for constant willpower. And once that rhythm takes hold, it no longer feels like a struggle. It feels like momentum. Momentum that multiplies results. Momentum that builds belief. Momentum that separates those who talk about change from those who actually live it. And right now, as you hear these words, you already know which side you want to be on. You don't want to be someone who keeps starting over. You don't want to look back on your life and wonder what could have been. You want to break the cycle once and for all. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening. Because deep down, you're ready to trade inconsistency for a life of unstoppable progress. And that decision, that shift in you, is the very first step toward building something extraordinary. What if I told you that the change you've been searching for doesn't require more effort, more hours, or more stress? What if the key to extraordinary results lies in the way one single habit can cascade into every area of your life? The most successful people don't work harder, they work smarter, and they let one powerful action trigger a chain reaction that multiplies their results far beyond what they imagine. Every small, intentional choice you make can become a domino, knocking down obstacles, creating opportunities, and opening doors that once seemed impossible to reach. Imagine the first domino falling. One small habit repeated daily can create momentum that feels effortless over time. The clarity it brings, the energy it unlocks, the confidence it builds, these are not accidents. They are the natural outcome of the mind learning to flow in alignment with intention. Your brain starts to expect consistency, craving the satisfaction of small wins, and rewarding you with motivation that no longer feels like a struggle. Every time you repeat this habit, the dominoes line up just a little faster, just a little higher, and soon what once felt monumental now feels inevitable. Most people never see this because they scatter their efforts. They try to chase 10 different goals at once, juggling priorities, burning energy, and never feeling the satisfaction of real progress. Their actions are fragmented, their focus diluted, and their results minimal. When you anchor yourself to one keystone habit, everything else begins to fall into place. Decisions become simpler. Energy that was wasted on indecision is freed. Momentum builds without effort. The world starts to feel less chaotic because you are no longer reacting, you are directing. This is the power of the domino effect. One habit doesn't just create results, it transforms your mindset. Each repeated action becomes proof to yourself that you are capable, that you can follow through, that your word to yourself is stronger than your fear or doubt. It rewires your self-image. You are no longer the person who tries and fails. You become the person who does. And once your identity shifts, your results follow naturally. Success stops being a distant dream and becomes the reflection of the person you are becoming every single day. Every breakthrough begins with this principle. Every leap in growth, every surge of energy, every leap towards your highest potential is built on one focused, consistent habit. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need to be extraordinary from the start. You only need to take the habit that aligns most directly with your goals, repeat it with intentionality, and trust the process. The domino effect will carry you forward faster and further than brute force ever could. And here's what makes it truly revolutionary. Once momentum takes hold, it doesn't just stay in one area of life. It spreads. Productivity in your work increases. Energy for your passions grows. Confidence in your decisions strengthens. Relationships improve because you bring consistency and presence into every interaction. One habit creates a ripple that touches every corner of your life, accelerating your results in ways that feel almost magical. This is why you can no longer wait. Every day spent hesitating is a domino left standing, a moment of momentum lost, a chance for growth postponed. The habit you are about to claim has the power to start that chain reaction immediately. It is not complicated. It is not exhausting, but it is transformative. And when you make the choice to commit, you will feel the shift. The first domino falling, the first wave of momentum surging, the unmistakable proof that you are finally moving in the direction you were meant to go. Your brain is not your enemy, even when it resists change. It's a powerful instrument that responds to patterns, repetition, and reward. The truth is that habits are not just actions, they are the building blocks of your reality. Each habit you form shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you act. Neuroscience shows that repeated behavior creates neural pathways, and these pathways dictate how effortlessly you operate in the world. The more you repeat a behavior, the stronger the pathway becomes, and the less mental effort it takes to perform. This is why one habit, repeated daily, can become the engine that drives everything else in your life. It is the difference between constant struggle and effortless progress. Think about your current patterns. How often do you rely on sheer willpower, forcing yourself to do what you know is necessary, only to burn out and fall back into old ways? That struggle is not a sign of weakness. It is a signal that your habits are misaligned with your goals. The brain prefers efficiency. It conserves energy by following the paths that have been worn smooth over years of repetition. That's why it feels so hard to break free from the habits that no longer serve you. But this is also the reason why the right habit can change everything. Once the right pathway is established, the brain will begin to work for you instead of against you, pulling you toward progress automatically. This is the secret that most people never realize. You don't need more motivation, and you don't need more discipline. What you need is a system that leverages your natural tendencies. By creating one keystone habit, you create a neurological shortcut to success. Every repetition strengthens the pathway. Every day that you honor the habit, your brain reinforces the identity of someone who achieves, someone who follows through, someone who gets results. Your mind begins to expect success, to crave growth, and to seek momentum. What was once effortful becomes effortless. What was once a struggle becomes automatic. The emotional power of this is staggering. Imagine feeling unstoppable, not because you are working harder, but because your brain has been trained to move you toward your goals. Imagine waking up every day with the clarity and energy to execute, knowing that each action compounds the last. That is the feeling of alignment. That is what it means to operate in a state where results are no longer a matter of chance, but a natural outcome of your system. You don't fight against resistance, you leverage it, turning it into a force that propels you forward. Every great achievement in life is rooted in this principle. People who reach extraordinary heights are not the ones who try harder. They are the ones who understand the science of habits and harness it. They focus their energy on the actions that matter most, repeating them consistently until they become part of their identity. And when identity aligns with action, results follow naturally, powerfully, and inevitably. You have the ability to create this alignment today. The habit you are about to embrace will not just improve your performance, it will transform the way your mind works, the way you feel, and the way the world responds to you. Every repetition strengthens the neural pathways of success. Every day builds confidence, clarity, and momentum. And when you commit, you will experience a shift so profound that nothing will feel impossible again. You will not just chase results. You will live in a state where results chase you, drawn by the force of the habit you have mastered. You have to understand that habits are not just about what you do. They are about who you are becoming. Every action, every choice, every repetition is a vote for the person you want to be. When you focus on one powerful habit, it begins to shape your identity. It tells your mind, I am capable, I am disciplined, I follow through. Your results are simply the natural reflection of identity. The reason most people fail is not because they lack effort, but because they are trying to force actions without changing who they believe themselves to be. Change your identity, and your actions, energy, and results align effortlessly. Identity-based habits work on a deeper level because they bypass the surface struggle of motivation. When your habits are tied to the person you see yourself as, every choice becomes easier. You no longer need to push yourself with willpower alone. You act from alignment, from conviction, from the certainty that this is who you are. This is why one habit can transform everything. It rewires your self-perception and allows your mind to operate in service of your goals. It creates internal gravity that pulls you forward instead of pushing against resistance. Ask yourself who you want to become. Not what you want to achieve, but who you want to see in the mirror each day. Every single repetition of this habit sculpts that person. Your brain begins to expect success because you have proven to it repeatedly that you are capable. Your confidence grows because your actions are consistent, deliberate, and intentional. Every time you honor this habit, you reinforce your identity as someone who gets results, someone who doesn't quit, someone who rises above the excuses and distractions that hold most people back. The impact is not just internal, it radiates outward. When your identity shifts, your focus sharpens, your energy intensifies, and your productivity multiplies. The same effort that once gave minimal results now creates exponential progress. This is the multiplier effect of identity-based habits. What seems small in the moment compounds over days, weeks, and months until your life looks unrecognizable from where you started. Every corner of your life improves because the force driving your actions is aligned with who you truly are becoming. Resistance will come, but it no longer has the power to stop you. Doubt, fear, procrastination. They are no longer obstacles because your identity carries authority over them. You don't wait for motivation. You move because it is consistent with who you are. You don't hope for results, you expect them because the habit you've anchored to your identity ensures progress every day. The struggle shifts from external to internal, and that internal shift changes everything. This is why focusing on identity is the ultimate leverage point. You are not just building a habit, you are building a version of yourself that cannot fail. The actions follow automatically. The results become inevitable. Every repetition strengthens not only the habit, but the belief in your ability to rise, to perform, to achieve at levels far beyond what you thought possible. You are no longer living reactively, you are creating proactively. You are no longer chasing life, you are commanding it. And this is exactly what gives this one habit the power to 10x your results. It doesn't just improve your day, it transforms your mind, your identity, and your trajectory. You are not simply taking an action, you are voting for the life you deserve, shaping the person you were meant to become, and creating a momentum that nothing can stop. Every day you honor this habit is a step toward unstoppable growth, and every step compounds into the extraordinary life waiting for you. The habit that transforms results does not rely on luck or fleeting motivation. It relies on structure, intention, and clarity. When you create a simple system that guides your focus, every decision becomes easier, every action more deliberate, and every day more productive. The mind craves clarity. Chaos drains energy, scatters attention, and breeds doubt. But when you anchor yourself to one habit that organizes your priorities, your brain begins to operate with precision instead of friction. It stops wasting energy on indecision and starts directing power toward meaningful results. This is the secret that separates those who stagnate from those who explode forward. Consider the power of small, intentional planning. When you spend even a few minutes each day defining what matters most, you are not just scheduling tasks. You are signaling to your mind what deserves your energy. This focus eliminates distractions and reduces wasted effort. Each day becomes a deliberate step toward your highest potential rather than a scattershot attempt at progress. The clarity you gain is not just practical, it is emotional. It removes anxiety, doubt, and overwhelm, replacing them with confidence, purpose, and momentum. The habit becomes your compass, pointing toward results that once felt distant or unattainable. The psychological impact is profound. When you take control of your day intentionally, the brain interprets it as competence. Every completed action, no matter how small, reinforces your identity as someone capable, disciplined, and unstoppable. Motivation is no longer the driver. It is the byproduct of consistent, aligned action. Confidence grows naturally. not from empty affirmations, but from repeated proof that you can execute, follow through, and create tangible progress. Your sense of possibility expands because you see daily evidence of what you are capable of when you commit fully. This habit does more than organize your time. It rewires your perception of effort and results. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now feel manageable because you approach them from a place of intention rather than reaction. Your focus sharpens, your energy multiplies, and the results begin to compound. Days that once drifted by unnoticed are transformed into powerful building blocks, each contributing to a momentum that grows exponentially. The chain reaction begins the moment you choose to align your actions with your priorities, and nothing can stop it once it starts. Every barrier you face is now a signal, not a limitation. Resistance becomes a guide, pointing you toward the actions that matter most. Procrastination loses its grip because the habit creates a neurological path that bypasses indecision. You no longer wait for perfect conditions or ideal motivation. You act because it is consistent with the person you are becoming. Each repetition strengthens this identity, building a bridge between your intentions and your results. The momentum you create is self-reinforcing, growing stronger with each day, each action, each small victory. This is why the one habit you are about to adopt has the power to 10 times your results. It is simple, yet extraordinary. It aligns your mind, your focus, and your energy with the outcomes you desire. It transforms chaos into clarity, resistance into action, and uncertainty into unstoppable momentum. When you embrace it fully, you will see not just incremental progress, but exponential growth. You will experience a shift so powerful that the life you once thought was beyond your reach becomes tangible, attainable, and inevitable. Every day you honor this habit is a step closer to mastery, a step closer to the life you deserve, and a step closer to the unstoppable force you were meant to become. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. The habit that will 10 times your results demands this kind of courage because it requires commitment in moments when you feel doubt, distraction, or exhaustion. Every time you choose to honor the habit, even when it feels inconvenient or uncomfortable, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagine. This is where transformation begins, not in moments of comfort, but in the disciplined choices you make when resistance is strongest. Each act of courage strengthens your resolve, rewires your mind, and builds momentum that cannot be stopped. Starting small is not weakness, it is strategy. The human brain responds to progress, not size. Tiny, consistent actions create neural patterns that compound into lasting change. You do not need to overwhelm yourself with monumental effort. You only need to take the step that aligns with your purpose and repeat it until it becomes automatic. This is how extraordinary results are achieved. This is how scattered energy becomes focus. This is how chaos transforms into unstoppable momentum. By starting small and being consistent, you create the conditions for your mind to embrace growth effortlessly. Every day that you practice this habit, you are claiming control over your future. You are refusing to be a passenger in your own life. You are declaring that you will no longer allow distractions, doubt, or fear to dictate your outcomes. Each repetition reinforces your identity as someone who follows through, someone who overcomes resistance, someone who rises above the noise to produce results that others only dream of. The emotional reward is immediate: clarity, confidence, and a sense of power that comes from knowing you are actively shaping your life rather than reacting to it. The science behind this is undeniable. The brain is wired to seek patterns and rewards. Every small win triggers dopamine, a chemical that reinforces behavior and creates motivation. When you honor this habit consistently, your mind begins to anticipate success. It starts to crave progress. Motivation becomes automatic because your brain recognizes the pattern of achievement. You are no longer relying on fleeting bursts of willpower. You are harnessing a neurological system designed to create momentum, energy, and results. Each day compounds into growth that feels effortless, unstoppable, and inevitable. Resistance will arise and excuses will whisper in your ear. You will feel tired, distracted, and tempted to give in. But this is the test. The moment you push through, the moment you choose alignment over convenience, you are proving to yourself that results are not earned in moments of ease. They are forged in moments of commitment. Every time you show up for yourself, you build confidence, courage, and momentum. Your identity strengthens, your focus sharpens, and your results multiply. You are no longer waiting for the right conditions. You are creating them with every action. This is why courage to begin small is non-negotiable. It is the gateway to exponential growth. It is the spark that ignites the chain reaction of progress. When you commit to this habit, no setback can stop you, no distraction can derail you, and no self-doubt can define you. You become unstoppable, not because you are invincible, but because you have trained your mind, body, and spirit to act consistently in the direction of your highest potential. Each day you honor this habit is a declaration. You are the author of your results, the architect of your life, and the unstoppable force driving your own transformation. Every obstacle you face is not a signal to stop. It is an invitation to grow. Resistance, doubt, and discomfort are inevitable, but they are also proof that you are moving beyond your comfort zone, stepping into a space where transformation occurs. The habit that will 10 times your results is designed to push you into this space intentionally. It is not about avoiding challenges. It is about using them as fuel. Every time you meet resistance and choose to act anyway, you are strengthening your mind, deepening your resilience, and expanding the limits of what you believe is possible. Excuses are easy. They are seductive whispers that convince you to delay action, to settle for less, to justify inaction. But every excuse you allow builds walls between you and your potential. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary results and those who stagnate is simple: commitment. Commitment to act, even when it is uncomfortable, even when fear and doubt are loud. Every time you honor the habit, you are teaching your mind that your word to yourself is stronger than any internal or external obstacle. That consistency becomes your proof, and proof becomes belief. Procrastination is another silent enemy. It tells you that tomorrow will be better, that later will be easier, that next week will give you the chance to start fresh. But neuroscience shows us that procrastination strengthens patterns of avoidance. The longer you wait, the more your brain associates resistance with giving up, and the cycle continues. The habit that will transform your results breaks this cycle. It creates immediate action. It trains your mind to prioritize what matters most. It builds momentum that cannot be ignored. The first step, repeated daily, dismantles the power of delay, and each subsequent step compounds the effect. Every challenge you overcome with this habit strengthens your identity. You are no longer someone who gives up when things get hard. You are someone who acts despite fear. You are someone who perseveres, who shows up, who executes relentlessly. This identity is self-reinforcing. Each success, each completed action, each moment of discipline rewires your mind to expect achievement. Motivation becomes unnecessary because your habits are now aligned with who you are becoming. You no longer chase results, they follow you. The emotional payoff of facing resistance head-on is profound. Confidence grows, not from external validation, but from internal proof. Courage is no longer a temporary surge. It becomes a characteristic of your being. You experience clarity in decision-making because your actions are consistent with your purpose. You feel energy because your mind is no longer exhausted by indecision and doubt. Momentum becomes your natural state, and each day compounds into results that once felt impossible. This is why overcoming resistance is non-negotiable. It is the crucible where your potential is forged into reality. Every time you push through, your mind, body, and spirit are trained to operate at a higher level. You are no longer a prisoner of hesitation or distraction. You become unstoppable. You create a feedback loop where effort builds confidence, confidence fuels action, and action multiplies results. The habit that 10 times is your results is not just a tool. It is the mechanism that transforms resistance into power, doubt into certainty, and potential into achievement. Every moment you face the challenge and act is a moment of transformation, shaping the unstoppable version of yourself that is waiting to emerge. Momentum is not accidental. It is earned, cultivated, and reinforced through consistent action. Each day you honor this habit, you are building an unstoppable force that carries you forward, far beyond the limitations you once believed were fixed. Momentum compounds like interest in a bank account. The more you invest in focus, deliberate action today, the greater the returns tomorrow. Your energy expands, your clarity sharpens, and the world begins to respond to the presence of someone who moves with purpose. Once momentum begins, it accelerates, and what once required struggle now flows effortlessly. Small victory creates a psychological ripple. The brain craves reinforcement, and with each completed action, your confidence grows. Your mind starts to anticipate success, your energy aligns with intention, and the internal friction that once slowed you disappears. Momentum becomes self-perpetuating. You act not because you force yourself, but because the habit has trained your mind to expect progress. This is the power that separates those who live in a cycle of frustration from those who achieve extraordinary results. The ability to create and sustain unstoppable movement toward their goals. The compounding effect of momentum is profound. One focused action today strengthens your ability to act tomorrow, which strengthens your results the next day, and so on. Your performance is no longer sporadic or dependent on fleeting bursts of motivation. It becomes a natural byproduct of alignment, discipline, and clarity. Every task you complete, every decision you make in favor of progress builds velocity that cannot be stopped. Your confidence grows, your confidence expands, and your sense of inevitability rises. Momentum transforms effort into mastery, and mastery transforms life into possibility. This is why consistency is far more powerful than intensity. A single day of extraordinary effort can feel impressive, but it fades without repetition. Momentum is earned in the quiet, disciplined repetition of action that compounds over time. Each day, each repetition, each small win builds a force that sweeps away doubt, procrastination, and hesitation. Your identity strengthens with each successive choice, reinforcing the person you are becoming, a person who achieves, persists, and rises above challenges automatically. When momentum takes hold, obstacles no longer feel insurmountable. Resistance loses its power because your motion has become stronger than hesitation. Fear no longer paralyzes because action has become habitual. Every push forward, every decision to honor the habit strengthens the trajectory of your life. You are no longer drifting through circumstances or reacting to events. You are actively creating your reality. Your results are no longer dependent on luck or fleeting motivation. They are inevitable outcomes of the force you have built. This is the transformational power of sustained momentum. It is not flashy. It is not dramatic. It is steady, relentless, and unstoppable. Each repetition of this habit builds force, confidence, and energy that compound exponentially. The life you have imagined, the results you have long desired, are no longer distant possibilities. They are the natural consequence of the momentum you cultivate today. When you commit fully, act consistently, and honor this habit without compromise, you unlock a force that carries you far beyond limits, far beyond fear, and far beyond the life you once thought was possible. Belief is the invisible force that transforms action into results. Every habit you commit to, every repetition you honor, strengthens not just your skill, but your certainty that you are capable of achieving what others consider impossible. When your actions align with unwavering belief, resistance fades, doubt weakens, and hesitation becomes irrelevant. Your mind begins to operate in a state of confidence, expecting success, and preparing you to perform at a level that feels effortless because it is consistent with who you are becoming. Self-belief is not a vague idea. It is measurable, trainable, and reinforced through repeated proof. Each time you act despite discomfort, each time you honor the habit when it feels inconvenient, you are building undeniable evidence that you are capable. Your brain stores this proof, and with every repetition, it strengthens the pathway of confidence, resilience, and competence. The more you reinforce this belief through action, the more automatic it becomes. Motivation is no longer a crutch. It becomes a natural consequence of an identity aligned with achievement. The power of belief extends beyond internal confidence. It influences every choice, every interaction, every decision. When you act from belief, the world responds. Opportunities appear because your clarity draws them in. People notice because your presence communicates competence and purpose. Challenges that once felt insurmountable now feel like stepping stones because your mindset has shifted. You are no longer a passenger in your life, hoping for external validation or permission. You are the driver steering with conviction, fueled by belief and reinforced by the habit that anchors your identity. Belief also protects momentum. When resistance, doubt, or fear arise, belief is the stabilizing force that prevents you from veering off course. It allows you to keep moving when results are delayed, when progress feels invisible, or when others question your path. It transforms patience from a passive state into an active strategy because each day you act with consistency, you reinforce the trajectory toward extraordinary outcomes. What once required force now moves naturally, powered by the certainty that your efforts compound into exponential growth. Every great achievement begins with belief before it is seen in results. The difference between those who dream and those who accomplish is often the unwavering faith in their own capacity to act and to persist. This belief is cultivated, reinforced, and strengthened through the habit you are mastering. Each repetition is a declaration: I am capable, I am consistent, I am unstoppable. With each declaration, your brain rewires itself to operate at higher levels, and your life begins to reflect the power of that internal certainty. This is why belief is not optional, it is essential. Without it, even the best plans, the strongest strategies, and the most disciplined habits falter. With it, every small action is magnified, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every step forward accelerates results beyond what you previously imagined possible. The habit that will 10 times your results does more than organize your time or increase productivity. It strengthens your belief in yourself, turning consistency into confidence, momentum into mastery, and effort into inevitable achievement. When you commit to this habit, you are not just changing what you do, you are transforming who you are, who you become, and the life that you are capable of creating. Focus is the bridge between potential and results. Without it, energy scatters, effort dissipates, and momentum stalls. The habit that will 10 times your results trains your mind to operate with precision, to cut through noise, and to act deliberately on what matters most. Every time you engage in this habit, you strengthen the neurological pathways that enable unwavering attention. Your mind begins to see clarity instead of distraction, alignment instead of chaos, and progress instead of stagnation. Focus becomes not a skill you force, but a state you inhabit effortlessly. Distractions are the silent killers of growth. Every time attention drifts, energy leaks, and results diminish. The more scattered your mind, the more resistance gains power, and the harder it becomes to create momentum. This habit rewires your brain to prioritize what matters, to see through the clutter, and to direct effort with surgical precision. The result is not just productivity, it is empowerment. You operate from a place of choice, not reaction, and every action compounds with purpose. Focus is the force multiplier that turns effort into exponential results. The psychological impact of sustained focus is profound. When your attention is trained on meaningful action, your brain releases chemicals that reinforce engagement, motivation, and energy. Your mind begins to crave deliberate effort because it recognizes the reward of progress. Clarity replaces doubt. Confidence replaces hesitation. Each completed action validates your ability to act intentionally, creating a feedback loop where focus strengthens belief and belief strengthens action. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You are the architect of your reality. Living with radical focus changes not just what you do, but who you become. When your mind operates in alignment with purpose, distraction loses its power. You make decisions quickly and decisively. You execute with energy and precision. And every day becomes a series of deliberate steps toward your highest potential. Your identity solidifies as someone who follows through, who honors commitments, and who creates results that others envy. Focus is not simply about efficiency, it is about mastery, alignment, and unstoppable momentum. The compounding effect of focus cannot be overstated. Every day you train your attention, you are increasing your capacity to act, think, and achieve at higher levels. Every repeated action under clarity strengthens the pathway to extraordinary results. What once required struggle now becomes natural. Tasks that once felt overwhelming now feel manageable. The life that once seemed out of reach begins to materialize because you are consistently directing your energy where it matters most. Focus transforms potential into performance and performance into mastery. This is why radical focus is non-negotiable. Without it, momentum falters, effort scatters, and progress slows. With it, every action magnifies, every decision compounds, and every step accelerates results beyond expectation. The habit that will 10 times your results does more than structure your day. It trains your mind to see, act, and achieve with precision, clarity, and power. When you commit to this level of focus, you are not simply doing more, you are becoming more. You are creating a life where energy, purpose, and action converge, where results flow naturally, and where the extraordinary becomes inevitable. Every action you take shapes not only your day, but the trajectory of your life. Results are not random, they are the natural outcome of repeated, intentional behavior. The habit that will 10 times your results gives you the framework to transform every moment into progress. It eliminates wasted effort, focuses your energy, and ensures that each day compounds into growth that others can only imagine. When your actions are deliberate, your results are no longer left to chance, they become inevitable. Discipline is the cornerstone of extraordinary achievement. It is not about forcing yourself through pain or struggle. It is about creating a system where consistency becomes effortless. The habit you are mastering builds discipline through repetition. Each time you follow through, even when it feels inconvenient, you reinforce your ability to act despite discomfort. Over time, this becomes automatic. Discipline is no longer a choice. It is a reflection of the person you are becoming, someone who honors their commitments, pursues progress relentlessly, and refuses to be derailed by excuses. The emotional impact of disciplined action is profound. Every completed task strengthens confidence, fuels momentum, and deepens belief in your capabilities. Your mind begins to expect follow-through. Motivation shifts from being external and fleeting to internal and automatic. You no longer rely on bursts of energy or willpower. You operate from a foundation of consistency, clarity, and focus. This is where ordinary effort transforms into extraordinary results, where small steps compound into monumental progress. Discipline also fortifies resilience. Life will test you. Challenges, setbacks, and distractions are inevitable. The habit you are cultivating creates a shield of consistency, allowing you to continue moving forward when others falter. Each time you act in alignment with your priorities, you prove to yourself that obstacles are temporary, that resistance is surmountable, and that your potential is limitless. This resilience is not just mental, it is physical, emotional, and spiritual. It transforms how you respond to the world, turning adversity into opportunity and struggle into growth. Consistency is the multiplier that turns effort into exponential results. One day of discipline produces results, but repeated days compound into momentum, confidence, and mastery. Each repetition is a vote for the person you are becoming. Each completed action reinforces the neural pathways that create automatic performance. What once required struggle becomes effortless. What once felt out of reach becomes achievable. The habit you are building transforms not just outcomes, but identity, ensuring that your future success is inevitable, not accidental. This is why commitment to discipline is non-negotiable. Without it, potential remains dormant, energy dissipates, and momentum falters. With it, every action magnifies, every effort compounds, and every day moves you closer to your highest potential. The habit that will 10 times your results does more than increase productivity. It transforms the way you think, act, and show up in the world. When you commit fully, discipline becomes automatic, momentum becomes unstoppable, and your life begins to reflect the extraordinary force you have cultivated within yourself. Every moment you honor this habit is a step toward mastery, power, and the results you were always capable of achieving. Every breakthrough begins with clarity. Without it, effort is scattered, energy leaks, and momentum stalls. The habit that will 10 times your results gives you the power to see clearly, to act intentionally, and to focus relentlessly on what matters most. When your mind operates with clarity, distractions lose their grip, doubt fades, and decision fatigue disappears. You no longer drift through your days reacting to circumstances. You act with precision, purpose, and unwavering direction. Each moment becomes a lever for progress, and every choice compounds into results that once felt impossible. Clarity is not just a mental tool, it is an emotional anchor. When you know exactly what matters, every action aligns with your goals, reducing anxiety, uncertainty, and hesitation. Your energy becomes a laser beam, cutting through chaos, concentrating power where it produces the greatest impact. The psychological effect is immediate. Confidence rises, momentum builds, and your mind begins to expect success. Each decision made from clarity strengthens your identity as someone who acts with focus, someone who creates results, and someone who rises above the noise that holds most people back. The brain responds to clarity with efficiency. Every task you perform with focus requires less effort, and the satisfaction of completion reinforces your drive to continue. Motivation is no longer something you chase. It becomes the natural outcome of seeing your path, understanding your priorities, and acting deliberately. What once felt like a struggle now feels like alignment. What once required willpower now flows naturally from the systems you've created. Each repetition strengthens your capacity to act, think, and perform at higher levels. Clarity also multiplies your impact. When your actions are deliberate, every choice compounds, creating exponential results. Scattered effort produces minimal outcomes, but aligned effort magnifies results beyond expectation. Your days become powerful engines of progress because each action is intentionally directed toward your highest priorities. Momentum grows faster, confidence strengthens, and the force of your focus creates a gravitational pull that attracts opportunity, energy, and success. The emotional payoff is profound. When clarity guides your actions, you no longer feel overwhelmed by decisions or trapped by distractions. You operate from a position of strength, knowing that your efforts are not wasted, that your energy is aligned with your purpose, and that every repetition reinforces the identity of someone who produces extraordinary results. This is the emotional core of transformation, the shift from chaos and doubt to certainty, power, and unstoppable forward motion. This is why clarity is not optional, it is essential. Without it, even the most disciplined effort can be misdirected. With it, every habit, every action, and every moment compounds into momentum that cannot be stopped. The habit that will 10 times your results does more than organize your day. It structures your mind, aligns your energy, and amplifies your capacity to act with power and precision. When clarity becomes your default state, focus becomes effortless, action becomes automatic, and your life begins to reflect the extraordinary force you are creating from within. Every decision you make, every task you complete, and every repetition of this habit is a step toward mastery, exponential growth, and the unstoppable results you were always capable of achieving.